You are Achilles, son of Peleus and Thetis, the greatest warrior among the Achaeans. For 9 long years, you have battled beneath the walls of Troy, a golden city by the wine-dark sea. The war began over a promise and a beautiful queen, and it has dragged on under the hot sun and cold stars. Now the army of Greece camps on the shore, bronze spears and flickering campfires dotting the night. In your tent by the waves, you restlessly run a hand over the smooth wood of your spear, feeling the distant hum of turmoil in your chest. Tonight, a warm breeze drifts in from the sea, carrying the salt smell of foam and the whisper of distant waves. But inside you, a storm brews. Agamemnon, the High King, has wronged you and wounded your pride. He took from you Briseis, the girl you cherished, as if you were worth nothing. The memory of her being led away fills you with anger and a deep ache. You feel the heat of rage flush through your veins, but you hold it in, your jaw tight. In silence and fury, you withdraw from battle, vowing that you will fight no more until the kings of Greece see how desperately they need you. Days pass under the harsh sun. From the shore, you watch the battles from afar, arms crossed over your gleaming armor that now stays dusty. You see your fellow Achaeans struggling without you. Beyond the trenches, Trojan warriors led by noble Hector push the Greeks back step by step. You hear the clash of swords and shields like distant thunder on the plain. You see smoke rising as the Trojans, bold and relentless, come near to burning the Greek ships that line the beach. Cries of warriors echo against the hills. Yet you remain by your black-sailed ship, your heart a mix of anger and sorrow. You have lost faith in Agamemnon's leadership, and in your bitterness, you pray softly to your mother, the sea nymph Thetis. Kneeling at the water's edge at dawn, you dip your hand into the cool surf. Mother, you whisper, let the Greeks feel my absence. Ask Zeus himself to turn the tide against them, that they may realize how they have wronged me. The waves seem to carry your plea far away. The gods hear. High on Mount Olympus, Zeus nods, and the fortunes of war tilt. Without Achilles on the field, the Trojans gain the upper hand. Day after day, the battle goes poorly for the Achaeans. From the ramparts, Prince Hector's eyes burn bright with determination. He leads a charge that breaks the Greek defenses. The air is thick with dust and the scent of trampled wildflowers on the plain. Through the haze, you glimpse Hector in his flashing helm, driving the Trojans onward. The Greeks fall back to the shore, desperate shouts ringing out. One afternoon, the Trojans come so close that flames from their torches lick at a Greek ship's hull. The smoke mingles with the sea breeze, and panic rises like a choking cloud among the Achaeans. Still, you wait, heart pounding, torn between pride and concern for your friends. That evening, as golden sunset fades to purple dusk, an old comrade comes to your tent. Wise Nestor, his hair silvered with age, pleads with you softly. His voice is low and gentle, like a grandfather soothing a child. Achilles, he says, our need is dire. If you will not fight, send out your loyal warriors. Let your dearest friend lead them in your stead. In the dim light, you see the worry in Nestor's kind eyes, and behind him stands Patroclus, your closest friend since youth. Patroclus places a hand on your shoulder. If you love me, he whispers, lend me your armor. Let me stand in your place and hearten our men. Perhaps they will think Achilles himself has returned to battle, and the Trojans will fall back in fear. You feel the tightness in your chest at the thought of Patroclus in danger. But you also know the Greeks cannot last much longer. With a heavy sigh, you rise and unhook the splendid armor from its stand. By flickering lamplight, you help Patroclus don your gleaming bronze breastplate and tall crested helmet. The armor fits him loosely. He is built more slenderly than you, but determination lights his face. Only drive them from our ships. You caution in a hushed voice, eyes searching his. Do not chase them to the city walls. Return to me safe. Patroclus nods, a small, brave smile on his lips. Outside, the stars have emerged, and from afar the battle quiets as night brings a brief respite. You watch Patroclus walk out into the cool night to gather your Myrmidon warriors, his shadow stretching long in the firelight. Your heart beats with anxious fear and hope. Dawn breaks with rosy fingers across the sky, and the battle resumes with renewed fury. From your camp, you see Patroclus leading the Myrmidons into the fray, your own shining helmet upon his head. The Greeks, heartened by what they believe is Achilles returned, rally with new strength. You hear a great cheer carry across the field. Patroclus fights fiercely, pushing the Trojans back from the burning ships. The surf crashes on the shore in time with the clash of swords. For a moment, it seems the war is turning, but war is unpredictable as the sea. In the heat of victory, Patroclus forgets your warning. He drives the Trojans all the way to the gates of Troy, where the high walls loom. There, Apollo, the archer god who favors the Trojans, watches from the clouds. With a sudden rush of divine wind, Apollo strikes Patroclus from behind, dashing the helmet from his head. Dazed, Patroclus staggers. In that moment, Hector finds him. From your distant post, you suddenly hear a cry that chills your blood. You squint toward the city walls and see your armor glinting in the sunlight, fallen to the ground. Patroclus has been struck down. Your dear friend is lost. A great coldness seizes your heart. The world seems to slow. On the plain, the battle surges around Patroclus's lifeless form. Greeks and Trojans struggle desperately over his body. Hector lifts the armor from Patroclus as a prize, not yet knowing the man he killed was not you. The afternoon sky darkens, and a strange hush falls as the news travels across the field. Patroclus is dead. When at last Patroclus's body is carried back to the camp, you fall to your knees beside your friend. Gently, with trembling hands, you brush the dust from his beloved face. The reality hits you like a wave, and hot tears spill down your cheeks. You lift your head and let out a keening cry, a sound of heartbreak that echoes across the shore and up to the very heavens. As the sun sets in a haze of red, you embrace Patroclus and vow vengeance through clenched teeth. Your grief is a raging storm, but also an awful clarity. In losing him, you have lost a piece of yourself. Now, nothing else matters. Not pride, not anger at Agamemnon, not even your own life. Only one thing burns within you: the need to honor your friend and avenge him. That night, you prepare to return to battle. The camp is quiet around you, many men sleeping uneasy under the gloom of tragedy. You cannot rest. Tenderly, you lay Patroclus out and cover him with a soft cloth, promising that he will have his proper farewell soon. As a cool midnight breeze comes off the sea, you stand by the breaking waves and gaze at the star-strewn sky. "Hear me, mother," you murmur, and Thetis hears. From the dark waves she rises, a goddess shimmering with sea foam in her hair. She sees your tear-streaked face and knows what has happened. Gently, she cups your cheek. Her voice is like a lullaby, sorrowful and sweet. "My child, I will ask the divine smith to forge you new armor, splendid and strong. But remember, if you slay Hector, fate says your own life too shall soon end. Are you certain?" You swallow the bitter truth. You have always known this was your destiny, to die young but glorious. Looking into your mother's gentle, immortal eyes, you nod. "Let it be so," you say softly. "I cannot live without doing this." Before dawn, Thetis returns to your tent bearing magnificent new armor that gleams like a second sun. The bronze cuirass is etched with swirling constellations and scenes of peace and war. Wondrous handiwork from Hephaestus's forge. You feel its reassuring weight as you don each piece. With this gift, and your resolve hardened like steel, you step forth at first light to face the Trojan host. When the sun rises over the plains of Troy, you stride out to battle at last. Your presence is like a blazing fire on a dark night. Word spreads swiftly through the Greek ranks. Achilles has returned. A cheer rises, rolling like a wave along the line of weary warriors. Across the field, the Trojans falter, their confidence shaken. Many turn and flee at the mere sight of your silhouette, crowned by the horsehair crest of your shining helmet. Steel in hand, you call out Hector's name, your voice ringing clear above the din. A challenge and a promise. The Trojan prince stands awaiting you outside the Scaean gates, armored in bronze and resolve. Hector's heart is brave and his face calm, though all around him his soldiers have fled behind the safety of the walls. He knows he cannot outrun you, nor does his honor permit it. Quiet falls upon the field as you and Hector stride toward each other through the trampled wildflowers and dust. In that suspended moment, you notice simple things. The whisper of the wind, the distant cry of a gull over the shore, the sweat beading on Hector's brow. You circle each other warily. Though rage still throbs within you, there is also respect. Hector is the one who took Patroclus from you, and yet he fought bravely and with love for his own people. With a shout, the duel begins. Spear clashes against shield with a sound like a great bell ringing. You dodge Hector's first cast, a blur of polished wood and bronze, and retaliate, your own spear flying true. It pierces Hector's armor at the gap by his shoulder. He staggers, eyes wide in shock and pain. You see the moment his strength fails. His knees buckle gently to the earth. Suddenly, the fight is over. Hector lies on the ground, mortally wounded, the life fading from his kind dark eyes. He whispers faint words, perhaps a request for honor, perhaps a final thought of his family. You step closer and hear him speak of Troy, of his mother and father, begging you to return his body to them. Your heart is a drum in your ears. In the heat of victory and grief, mercy feels distant. As the last light leaves Hector's face, a red haze of anger still drives you. You remember Patroclus's death, and a fierce ache demands satisfaction. Blind to pity, you do a cruel thing. You take leather thongs and lash Hector's lifeless body to your chariot, binding his ankles tight. Mounting the chariot, you urge your horses forward. The wheels begin to turn. Slowly at first, then faster, you drag Hector's body across the blood-stained plain. Dust rises and clings to his hair. The watching Trojans upon the walls cry out in horror and anguish at this sight. But you cannot hear their tears through the roaring of blood in your ears and the whirlwind of your own agony. Back at the Greek camp by twilight, you gently place Patroclus's body on a funeral bier and prepare him for farewell rites. Yet Each dawn for days thereafter, in the grip of unyielding sorrow, you hitch Hector's body once more to your chariot. Again and again, at dawn and at dusk, you drag him around Patroclus's tomb in a macabre ritual of grief. It is a terrible act, born of a heart that cannot find peace. Though Hector's body becomes marred with dust and scars, he remains silent, and your anguish remains unsoothed. The gods look down and grieve for Hector, whom they loved. Zeus himself sends a messenger goddess, Iris, across the sky with a rainbow shimmer carrying a command to you. Achilles must let Hector's body be ransomed. But you do not hear divine Iris in your rage and despair. So the gods decide on another way. Zeus sends Hermes, the guide, to lead an old man through the dark of night to the Greek camp. On the 12th night after Hector's fall, when the camp is quiet and the embers of the cook fires glow softly, a lone figure slips into your tent. It is King Priam of Troy, Hector's aged father. You awaken with a start to see a man, white-bearded and grief-worn, kneeling at your feet. By the flicker of a small oil lamp, Priam's face is wet with tears. In his arms, he carries a heavy sack of treasures, ransom for his son's body. But before you can speak, the old king does a shocking thing. He clasps your hands and brings them to his lips. Imagine, Achilles, he whispers in a trembling voice, if your own father, Peleus, had to beg for your body, I have kissed the hand of the man who killed my son. His words cut through you like a clear, cold breeze. The anger within you falters, replaced by something else, an ache of empathy. You gently bid Priam to stand, your throat tight with emotion. Please, sit, old king, you say softly, guiding him to a simple wooden stool. Outside, the night is quiet, the waves lapping at the shore as if listening. You fetch food and drink for the grieving father, and together you share a meager meal by lamplight. Priam tells you quietly of Hector, of a little boy who once ran laughing through the palace gardens, of a young man who carried his brother on his back to bed when he fell asleep at the table. As Priam speaks, you see not an enemy king, but a father mourning a beloved son. Tears slip down your face as you remember your own father back in Phthia, and how he will never see you again if fate runs its course. Gently, you reach out and take Priam's hand in yours. Your son shall be returned to you, you promise softly. In that moment, it feels as if a heavy shadow lifts from your soul. You step outside together into the cool night air, spiced with the scent of the distant sea. By torchlight, your men carefully place Hector's dust-laden body onto a wooden cart. Priam's eyes close in relief and sorrow. That night, you grant the Trojans a truce to hold proper funeral rites for their fallen prince. Priam bows to you gratefully, and you feel a strange calm wash over you, a quiet sense of rightness amid the sorrow. Hermes leads the king and his precious burden safely out of the Greek camp, vanishing into the darkness before dawn. In the days that follow, a hush falls over the battlefield. Neither side takes up arms, honoring the truce. You stand at a distance as Troy mourns its hero. On the highest walls of the city, you can just glimpse a line of torches flickering as Hector's body is carried lovingly by his family. The Trojans light Hector's funeral pyre, and a gentle glow rises into the twilight sky. The smoke carries their laments upward, and the scent of incense drifts on the breeze. On the Greek side, you finally hold the funeral for Patroclus, your dear friend. It is a day and night of bittersweet celebration and sorrow. You sacrifice horses and offer rich honey and oils on his pyre, seeking to honor his spirit. The flames crackle under the open sky as you whisper your last goodbyes to him, imagining his smile one last time. When both Patroclus and Hector have been given to the fire and their ashes collected with reverence, a strange peace settles over the land. The anger and bloodlust in your heart has ebbed, replaced by an immense sorrow and a quiet emptiness. Yet, there is also a sense of closure. You have fulfilled your duty to your friend, and you have shown compassion to your fallen foe. For a moment, on a quiet evening, Greek and Trojan alike pause to watch the sunset over the plains, where so many brave deeds and tragic losses unfolded. The sky is painted in soft hues of rose and gold. In your soul, you feel the stirring of acceptance, of the transient nature of glory and life. By the dim glow of the campfire, you gaze toward Troy's distant silhouette and murmur a farewell to Hector, a warrior who fought with honor. And so, the wrath of Achilles is spent at last. The great war at Troy nears its end. The city's fate will soon be sealed not by the sword, but by a trick, a wooden horse bearing soldiers within. Yet, that is another story soon to unfold. For now, the battlefield grows quiet. Stars emerge one by one above the tents and walls, shimmering like the eyes of gentle gods watching over weary mortals. You, Achilles, have walked the path of anger, loss, and finally, compassion. In the cool stillness of night, you lie back on the sand outside your tent. The waves sigh softly against the shore, a lullaby of the sea. As you close your eyes, the images of war begin to fade like distant thunder. You allow yourself to rest, breathing in the night air. The first chapter of this epic journey comes to a close, and a new dawn will bring a different path, a long road homeward for another hero. You are Odysseus, king of Ithaca, a resourceful hero favored by the grey-eyed goddess Athena. The war at Troy has finally ended. The city fell when, by your clever scheme, a great wooden horse full of Greek warriors was brought inside Troy's walls. You remember that night well, how you and a select few hid in the wooden belly of the horse, your heart hammering as you crouched in the darkness. Late in the night, when the Trojan celebrations had faded into sleep, you slipped out and opened the gates, leading to the final victory. Troy burned under a moonless sky, its towering flames reflected in your weary eyes. It was an end, and also a beginning, for now your thoughts turn homeward. 10 years of war have passed, and all you want is to see your island home of Ithaca again, its green hills, grazing goats, and your beloved wife Penelope and young son Telemachus, who was but an infant when you sailed to Troy. At last, with Troy's ruins smouldering behind you, you and your men set sail across the open sea. The sails catch a gentle wind, and the smell of salt and freedom fills the air. The sea stretches out before you, vast and beckoning, under a sky of soft blue. You close your eyes and imagine Ithaca's shores, the olive trees swaying in the breeze, and Penelope's kind smile. She has waited so long for you. You silently pray she is safe, and that your palace has not fallen into ill hands. But the gods are not yet done testing you. Your journey home will become its own epic, filled with wonders and trials. On the very first leg of your voyage, you face unexpected peril. Your fleet, still heavy with treasure and weary soldiers, raids a coastal town for supplies, the land of the Cicones. Your men, flush with victory, take more than they need and linger too long. By dawn, the enraged locals rally and strike back fiercely. Half-dressed and scrambling, your men barely fight them off. In the pale morning light, you mourn companions lost in the skirmish and urge the survivors back to the ships. It is a sobering lesson. The war may be over, but danger still shadows you. As your ships push off, the winds shift and dark clouds gather. Zeus, king of the gods, sends howling gales that batter your fleet. For 9 days, you are blown off course, far from any known shore. When at last the tempest calms, you find yourselves in strange waters, under strange skies, uncertain of the way home. On the 10th day, the sun breaks through grey clouds to reveal a coastline lined with flowering lotus trees. You have arrived at a peaceful, dreamy land, the land of the lotus eaters. Weary and curious, you step onto the shore with a handful of your men. The air is warm and sweet. Gentle breezes carry the fragrance of blossoms. Locals approach with kind smiles and offer your crew a strange fruit, the honey-sweet lotus. Eventually, Words give way to quiet contentment. Penelope rests her head on your shoulder as the cool breeze of the night wafts in, rustling the curtains. Outside, the full moon beams down over Ithaca, silvering the courtyard where so much strife took place just hours before. Now all is calm. Athena extends her grace to lengthen this blessed night, slowing the dawn so you both can savor each other and find true rest after your ordeals. In the early hours of morning, you finally drift into sleep beside your beloved, her hand still in yours. Your heart, once so restless and storm-tossed, is now anchored in the safe harbor of home. The smell of Penelope's hair, the gentle rise and fall of her breathing, the familiar creaks of your home's timber, these are the sweetest things, the simple treasures that all your heroic adventures have taught you to cherish above any glory. At long last, your journey, this great Odyssey of heart and soul, has reached its end. Home. The word itself feels like a prayer answered. And as the first light of rosy-fingered dawn peeks over the hills of Ithaca, it finds Odysseus, the wanderer, finally at peace in the arms of his faithful wife. Your weary eyes remain closed, and a small, contented smile graces your lips. In your mind drifts a gentle image, you standing on the shore of Ithaca at sunset, Penelope's hand in yours, watching the calm sea together with no thoughts of departure. The long turmoil has settled like a spent storm, leaving the waters of your life still and clear. The trials of war and voyage have faded into stories to tell on winter evenings. Now begins the quiet epilogue of a life hard won. In this peaceful conclusion, you, the hero, the husband, the father, can finally allow yourself to rest. No more battles to fight, no more foreign shores to wander. Just the familiar sounds of home, distant goat bells on the hills, the rustle of olive branches in the breeze, and the soft humming of Penelope as she weaves in the afternoon sun. With these comforting thoughts swirling gently, you drift deeper into slumber. Tonight, your bed is steady and warm. The nightmares of restless seas and fearsome foes are banished by the steady presence of love beside you. As sleep claims you fully, it is not the troubled sleep of longing or exhaustion you've known for years, but the sweet, deep sleep of fulfillment. The epic tale has been told, and its hero, at last, sleeps safe at home. Outside, stars wheel silently. The same stars that guided you on your journey, now watching over Ithaca's king as he dreams. The universe seems to draw a long breath of relief with you. Now, listener, with our story complete and all well again under Ithaca's skies, you too can close your eyes. Let the gentle images of wine-dark seas, rosy dawns, and warm hearts settle in your mind. Feel the peace of homecoming in your heart. the comfort of resolution after a long quest. You have traveled far in this tale, felt the anger of Achilles and the yearning of Odysseus, witnessed trials and joys. But now all is calm and right. Allow yourself to sink into that calm. The journey's end is a place of safety and love. Breathe softly, in and out, like the lapping of waves on a quiet shore. Imagine yourself perhaps on the decks of a Phaeacian ship, lulled by the gentle rocking as friendly winds carry you towards the harbor lights of your own beloved home. Or see yourself under the olive tree outside Odysseus's hall, where the night air is sweet and all strife is ended. Here, at the closing of the epic, there is nothing more to do, no more adventures to chase, only to rest, to let the soothing cadence of this story carry you into your own dreams. Know that, like our hero, you are sheltered and watched over through the night by the gods in the tale or by the quiet guardians of your room. The ancient bards would end their songs with a soft refrain, a wish of well-being for all who listened. So I wish you now, may your sleep be deep and your heart be light. May you find peace in your dreams and wake with the gentle certainty that dawn brings hope. The story of the Iliad and the Odyssey has cradled you in its timeless comfort, and now it releases you gently into the realm of sleep. So close your eyes, dear listener, and drift off as this final image shimmers and fades. A small boat safely moored in a starlit bay, its voyage done, its crew curled up and sleeping soundly under the infinite sky. Home at last. Good night and sweet dreams.